Good morning, Unity family. Please rise and join me in the first Noel.
Good morning. Thank you, Mark, for that amazing music and for allowing our organ to sing to us as well as our singing along with the organ. Welcome. Welcome to Unity of Syracuse. Welcome to those in the sanctuary. Welcome to those who are love streaming the program from home. We're so glad you're here this morning. I'm Patsy Scala, and I'm your platform assistant for today. So we're going to open with a reading of today's daily word, which is peace, the traditional word for the second Sunday in Advent. Embodying the peace of God, I create a peaceful world. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. I know peace as I hear the first words of the beloved Christmas carol. The peace I feel wells up from the depths of my being, from a place of silence filled only with awareness of God. The peace of God refreshes and restores me each time I visit this inner sanctuary, replacing anything unlike itself. My consciousness remains calm and bright as I return to the many activities of the day. As I embody peace, stress and tension transform into productive energy. Peace shows me there are possibilities for good in every situation and every relationship. Thoughts of peace, words of peace, and peaceful actions fill my day. I embody peace to help create a peaceful world. And from Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3, those of steadfast mind you keep in peace, because they trust you. So I thought about this as I was doing my morning meditation, knowing that today is the Sunday dedicated to peace. And I thought, how can we be peaceful in a world that's full of turmoil, or that appears to be full of turmoil? And then I remembered the song that we sing after church every Sunday, "Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me." And I realized that all of this turmoil is nothing but my lack of projecting inner peace into all that I see. And I realized that all that appears to be something other than peace is really only a cry for peace. Just like in Course of Miracles, it says everything that appears to be not love is a call for love. So if we allow peace to be within ourselves, the world around us will be filled with peace. We are the peace in the world. And if there's one peaceful heart in the world, there is peace in the world. So now for our Advent reading, I would like to invite Tony and April up to read the Advent message and light the candles. I'm sorry? Okay, I'm sorry, Michelle's doing it. Okay, I was told that Tony and April were doing it, but I think, Michelle, you're a wonderful person to be doing the reading and to be. So here is Michelle.
Good morning. Today we light the candle of peace, living peace. We envision the birth of Jesus occurring in a setting of great peace. From this auspicious beginning, he grew to become the Prince of Peace, our way shower for living a life of peace, love, and compassion. We each have within us a deep well of peace. It lies at the very center of our being. Anytime we feel unsettled, anxious, or upset, we can return to the abiding peace of the Christ within. We can live peace, know peace, and be peace. May the Lord of peace himself give you peace at all times, in all ways. 2 Thessalonians 3:16.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for that beautiful reading. This is the time when our children used to go downstairs to meet with their YFM teachers, but they're already downstairs, so they are set. and it is time for us to stand in our place and give each other a sacred greeting on this sacred day. A handshake, a namaste, a wave, a smile. And for those of you in love streaming land, look at someone, and if there's no one near you, look in the mirror and give yourself a great sacred greeting, for we are all only one. Now, while you're standing, if you would join me in our statement of being. God is all, both visible and invisible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. Now, if you be seated.
I guess I got the wrong one. I need to turn the page. Woo. It came upon the midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold. Peace on the earth, goodwill to men, from heaven, O gracious King. The world in solemn stillness lay to hear the angels sing. Still through the cloven skies they come, with peaceful wings unfurled, and still their heavenly music floats o'er all their hungry world. Above its sad and lowly plains, they bend on hovering wing, and ever o'er its pebble sounds the blessed angels sing. For lo, the days are hastened on by prophet bards foretold, when with the ever-circling years comes round the age of gold, when peace shall overshadow all the earth, its ancient splendors fling, and the whole world send back the song which now the angels sing.
And now it's time for our announcements. And the first announcement is a very sincere thank you to all the people who helped to decorate the church last week. Our holiday craft fair is going on this Sunday, today, downstairs, and next Sunday, before and after the service. If you want a table for next Sunday, see Mina Bradley Cogger. Our new members class is going to start on the first Sunday in January, and it's going to be part of the 10 a.m. discussion group. So I invite all of you who want to be new members to sign up in the bookstore And also, I want to invite all of those who are regulars at the 10 a.m. discussion group, whether or not you want to be a new member, to continue coming because you add a great deal of what we all stand for. Now, the parking lot. It's icy, so be careful when you walk out there. And also, when you park your cars, don't park right underneath the overhang of the church because icicles could and will fall on your car. It happened to you? Okay, it happened to mine. It can, and we don't want that problem. So don't park under the eaves of the church. Bears of love. We are, as we know, bearers of love. But this year, Mina Bradley Cogger is taking charge of Bears of Love. We urge you to buy a bear or a stuffed dog or a stuffed animal of any sort. Nikki, can you hold up your stuffed animal? That's perfect. And bring them to church. Sit them. Yes, we have more than one stuffed animal here. Bring them to church. Sit them down in the pews and hug a stuffed animal, fill it with love, and then we will give it to deserving children and deserving people who are homebound. I know that when my husband was ill, he got a bear. He named it Edith Ann after Reverend Edith, and it was something that brought great joy to him, if you can believe that. It really did. So it brings joy not only to children, but also to those who are ill. Joanne, did you want to say something?
I just want to add to the craft fair. There's also a bake sale, so that's today. And for next Sunday, if anyone would like to bake and bring in something, that would be appreciated also. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Okay, well, I'd like today to welcome our guests. Do we have anyone who is attending for the very first time? We welcome you. We welcome you so much. We have a packet with a gift of a candle representing the light of spirit that shines within you. And I can see that light shining from up here in your smile. Attached to the welcome packet is a yellow card. If you would fill that out and turn it in down at the gift store, we have another gift for you. And we invite you to stay for fellowship and the craft fair and to become a part of us. So we welcome you. Okay. Now it's time for our 6 basic principles. Oh, I'm sorry. We welcome you also. Okay. So, yeah, we welcome you back. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you so much for sharing. We deeply welcome you. And now is the time for our 5 basic principles. Unity is, well, it wasn't founded on these basic principles, but we live by these principles. If you live by this, you are united with us in every way in unity. So I'd like to ask if there are any 2 of you who might be able to very briefly explain how one or more of these principles have worked in your life this week. Oh, come on. Okay. All right. So we have Nikki and we have Mark. Yeah, wait for the microphone.
So I was just, again, number 4, there's power in affirmative prayer. If everything goes well, Judy's going to be having a knee replacement on Tuesday, so I was just asking for the affirmative prayer.
Thank you. Thank you, and be assured that our prayer chaplains and everyone here are here to pray with anyone and everyone. Mark?
So I just found myself this week just struggling with a lot of things, going to work, thinking, I had a little pit in my stomach, a lot of things going on. I had a lot of, things, balls up in the air. And, so I was driving to work, and this is for like 3 and 4, that it's like we create our life experiences through our ways of thinking. And I'm like, okay, Mark, you have the capacity, you have the skills, and you have the grace of God to get through all of these things that are going on in your life, and they were all to take care of themselves in time. And, that was kind of like my prayer to myself, that thank you, with God, all is possible.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, we have another.
My name is Amber, and I grew up in Marcellus, and I never had culture. We were all country, kind of hillbilly-ish. You drove your lawnmower to school, and tractors and trucks, big trucks. And I went to Rite Aid the other day to get a money order, and I've never had to get a money order before. So he was like, sorry, ma'am, but this is Walgreens. And I was like, oh, but it says Rite Aid. Well, we turned into Walgreens, and we don't sell money orders anymore. I'm like, okay. So there was this black woman in front of me, and she looked at me, and she's like, did you drive here? And I was like, yeah. And she had her 2-year-old son, and he's having a heyday on the floor, and he's screaming and yelling, and he's got cookies in his hand and a nutcracker. And she's like, could you drive me home? And I didn't even, flinch. It wasn't like a, ooh, or she's going to steal from me, or anything of that nature. I was just like, absolutely, I will drive you home. She looked at me and was like, okay, well, I was really scared to ask you. And I was like, why? And she's like, I don't know, because you said dude. And I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah. And I actually have a car seat in my car because I have a 2-year-old son. And she's like, if you didn't have a car seat, you probably wouldn't have drove me. And I was like, no, because I don't really want to go to jail today. So I put her 2-year-old son in the car, and I drove her up the street, and I said, God bless. She got out, and she asked me to give me $5, and I told her no. And it just felt so good. And I wasn't scared. It was just like an honest, yes, I'll drive you. It just came out of me. And I was only there for a money order, but obviously they didn't sell money orders. So that's what I did.
Thank you so much. That is a beautiful, beautiful story, and I'm so glad you shared it. You very literally drove another person home. We are all spiritually and metaphysically driving each other home, especially when we share stories like that and when we share the love that we are. So thank you so much for that. Now it's the prayer portion of the service. Will the prayer chaplains who are serving today please stand? Okay, Christina is serving and Leland is serving. So, Leland, could you stand okay. And Christina's in the back. Thank you. Every Sunday from 10:45 to 10:55, our prayer chaplains are here to pray with you about anything. A problem, a special prayer request, gratitude, I feel like I need a prayer. I feel like I would like to hear a prayer. So do support our prayer chaplains as they support you. So, at this time, we bless our prayer intentions and requests. Christina, would you please bring the prayer box forward? Unity was founded on prayer. At Silent Unity, prayer has been continuous for almost 130 years. If you haven't yet placed your written prayer request or intention in the prayer box, you can place it there mentally. Just think it, and it's spiritually there. Or you can place it in the prayer box at the end of the service. We hold these in confidence and pray over them for 30 days. Then we send them to Silent Unity, where they're prayed over again in confidence for another 30 days. So hold these intentions in prayer.
Let us join in peace in this moment, right here, right now. And we take a breath, remembering who and what we are, expressions of the divine. We are connected in our oneness. We now feel the holy presence of God here with us, among us, in us, and through us. It is that same oneness, divine connection moving in and through the lives of everyone in our prayer intentions. Let's just take a moment to hold them all in mind, those listed on the prayer intentions in this box, and the people and situations in our hearts and in our minds. Let's think of them in this very moment. They too are centered in peace. They too are expressions of the divine, illuminated by the love and light of God moving in and through them in every moment. We hold that image of them, for that is part of our prayers for others, to remember who they are, to see them in their perfection. And with another breath, let us release all that is not serving us or others, worries, concerns, anger, unforgiveness, whatever perceptions and thoughts are holding us back from being the love that we are here to be, for being the peace that we are here to be. For that is how we heal ourselves and help to support the healing of others and the world. Amen.
I dreamed of rain, and the rains came, soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain, and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of rain, and the rains came, soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain, and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of summer, and the winds changed, and the green was easy, and the river ran clear. I dreamed of summer, and the winds changed, and peace spread over the land. And the flowers bloom in the desert, and the air is fresh and clear. I dreamed of rain, and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of freedom, and the moon rose, and the way was easy, and the path so clear. I dreamed of freedom, and the moon rose, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of heaven, and the earth sang, and the sound was easy, and the song was clear. I dreamed of heaven, and the earth sang, and peace spread over the land. And our guardian stars are shining, and the night is bright and clear. I dreamed of heaven and the earth sang, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. And the flowers bloom in the desert, and the air is fresh and clear. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of rain, and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of rain, and the rains came.
Testing. Oops, thank you. You knew just what I needed. Good morning, everyone. Can you see that? In case I need a drink. So, I challenged, right? I have a coughing fit, 10 minutes before I have to speak, so keep the peace. Keep the peace. All right, good morning. I'm Cybie Mauro, and I am your speaker for today. So, let me just take a breath and presence myself to the room and see all these beautiful faces and open hearts and minds. So several years ago, I learned a poem for Christmas called A Cup of Christmas Tea. And I'm going to say the first verse here. The log was in the fireplace, all spiced and set to burn. At last, the yearly Christmas race was in the clubhouse turn. All the cards were in the mail, and the gifts beneath the tree, and 30 days reprieve until Visa would catch up with me. Well, a moment of peace, isn't that what we all want? Just that perfect moment. Everything of the season is done, and then, we can sit and have that moment of peace. All I want is a little peace of mind, but sometimes all I get is a piece of my mind. So Jesus said, in John, he said, "My peace I leave you, my peace I give you. Not as the world gives, do I give. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid." Jesus was not talking about outer conditions being the way that we want them to be so that then we can experience inner peace. Paul told the Philippians, "And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, shall guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus." So Paul was saying again that the peace that he's talking about, that Jesus talked about and came forth to show us the way as the Prince of Peace, is not the peace in the outer world. We live our lives as if we need everything out there to be completely the way we want it in order for us to feel inner peace. So there's no way to look at the world and find lasting peace there. There's a quote from our Lenten booklet that I want to read by Nehru. Nehru said, "Peace is not a relationship of nations. It is a condition of mind brought about by serenity of soul. Peace is not merely the absence of war. It is also a state of mind. Lasting peace can come only to peaceful people." And so, inner peace is not dependent on outer circumstances. It is a state of being or a state of mind. And it is a natural state. It is the truth of our being. Our essence is love, and our natural state is peace. And so, we don't seek peace in order to have it out there, and yet when we seek peace within ourselves, it can affect the outcome and the outer expression. As some of you know, I'm a facilitator for attitudinal healing, and there are 12 principles of attitudinal healing. Many of you have taken the course. And Jerry Jampolsky wrote the book that we use primarily every week, which is Teach Only Love. And the 8th principle is on choosing peace. So let me read you what he says. Attitudinal healing reminds us that it is always our own thoughts about the world that causes us distress. We can be peaceful inside regardless of what is happening outside. That's the 8th principle. Despite the chaos in our lives, we can choose to be peaceful, knowing that we are connected and sustained by our loving, peaceful source. It is through that connection with the divine within us that we find the peace that we long for. And so what disturbs the peace? Well, when I was, contemplating speaking on peace, the image of water came up. And it was just like so powerful to equate or use an analogy of water with peace, true peace. Because water is, by nature, still. It seeks, if it's uphill, it will run down, it will go to wherever it can just be peaceful. And isn't water so soothing and peaceful? That they surveyed people that about where they would like to retire, and do you know almost everyone said they wanted to retire near a body of water? Why? It brings up such peace. And a few weeks ago, I was with my step-granddaughter, Stella, and it was the evening, and she was like in a mood, and her mom says, "Time for your bath." "No, I don't want to take a bath." Well, things unfolded, and lo and behold, she got in the bathtub with much resistance. And I went in and sat with her, and we had this wonderful chat. And she's just lying in the bathtub, and now she's talking, and she's got bubbles all over, and she's like, whoa. And I said, "You're really enjoying this bath." She goes, sometimes I just don't want to take it, but when I get in here, it's like, I feel so good. And I realized, yeah, that's what water does. It can bring us this sort of sense of peace. So water is still in its natural state, as I am suggesting our minds are in their natural state. There is a sense of stillness. Even as thoughts float by, there is a sense of inner peace or stillness. So something has to act upon water in order for it to be stirred up or disturbed. Wind, or there could be an earthquake or something of that nature, something on the water, thrown into the water. So I'm going to demonstrate something disturbing this water. So as I stir the water, these are my thoughts being stirred up. And as long as I keep them stirring up, they cloud my vision. They interrupt my state of peace. So I have to disengage from what I'm doing that's disturbing my peace of mind and just let myself sit. So Jesus was in the boat with the disciples, and he was sleeping. And he told the disciples to stand watch, and he fell asleep, and a wind came up, and the waves were furious, and there was lots of turbulence, and they became afraid. And so they woke up Jesus and said, "We're going to perish. Wake up. Do something." And Jesus said, "Oh, ye of little faith." And then he turned and he said to the wind and the waves, "Peace, be still." And the waters calmed. So, as Jesus demonstrated by saying, "Peace, be still," and I will translate into modern English, "Shut up and sit down." When our minds are going crazy, we need to call on the Christ within us to calm those inner turbulent thoughts. And so we all have them. Every one of us has those turbulent thoughts. And it isn't that we are going to get rid of those thoughts, but we can sit and we can acknowledge them, and we can allow them to start to filter down and sink to the bottom. So the sand in this glass is sinking down to the bottom, and it's starting to clear. If we can sit with our turbulent thoughts and just allow them to start to settle, clarity for any situation can come. So do any of you have any turbulent thoughts? How about a worry? Stand up if you have a worry, okay? Okay. Oh boy. How about a fear? Okay. How about a concern? Just a little concern, okay? How about something that's nagging at you and will not go away? Your thoughts keep returning to it over and over again. Okay? Oh, 2 hands up back there. Okay, so, there's a movie called Guys, don't sit down yet. There's a movie called Guys and Dolls, and Nicely is one of the characters. And so Nicely sings this song, and it's, "Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, you're rocking the boat. So sit down, because you are rocking the boat." So Jesus told that to his disciples, really. When he said, "Peace, be still," he wasn't just talking to the waves and the water. He's talking to the disciples as he said, "Oh, ye of little faith, you've disturbed yourselves with your worry and your fear. Sit down, you're rocking the boat." And so we can say that to ourselves, and we can certainly return ourselves to some sense of peace. So St. Francis, he was certainly, it's interesting, I think in the last, Patsy mentioned St. Francis in her talk, Ray mentioned it, and I did in my letter. It's like he seems to be revisiting us here. And so in this book called Simple Peace by Bruce Davis and Patsy and the minister at the time, Reverend Jeff, they took some of us to Italy, and we went on a retreat in Assisi. And there I found my deep, deep, deep connection with St. Francis. So St. Francis meditated. And here's what, Bruce Davis is an authority on St. Francis, and he said, St. Francis had this recurring experience of sitting, as he meditated, of sitting on the ocean floor, simply breathing. The warm water was endless love. A vast, peaceful ocean was inside Francis, and outside. There was no distinction. Francis was safe and enjoyed this peaceful feeling beyond measure. Daily life seemed very far away, like the waves of the ocean, far above in the distance. From here, where he sat, the waves of everyday life, the identity everyone took seriously as real, seemed quite unimportant. In front of him were only warm currents of peace. Francis knew this was his soul. He was remembering God. He was merging with the all, being without limits. This is his body, his real body. And only very occasionally did a thought float by like a fish swimming near him. To the world, Francis seemed quiet and in silence, or maybe sleeping. But Francis knew he had surrendered his heart to God. How does everyone limit themselves to thinking life as separate and temporary as a wave when one can be the whole ocean? So, many of you know that I often use the metaphor of waves in my own personal life and sometimes as a prayer chaplain. So for me, the source, God, is that infinite ocean of peace and love. And everything else that I experience is a wave on the surface of the ocean. So I cannot tell you how many times I have encountered a problem in my life where I went to worry or fear or concern, and I could sit and picture that like a wave on the surface, and then imagine that that wave is emerging with the allness of God, where all answers to every perceived problem dwell. The infinite intelligence, imagination, love, and peace of God is available to us in every single moment. We are the waves on the surface of that infinite source of all life. And we have access to it at any moment when we sit, be still, and know that I am God. So how do we do that? We have to make peace our number one priority. In my talk on forgiveness, I referred to Tosha Silver's experience with a gangster. Well, he wasn't really a gangster, but he talked like one. And who swindled her and some friends out of $5,000 and left town as some sort of a investment scheme. And when he left town and they all realized that they had all lost $5,000, everybody went into complete meltdown and reactivity, including Tosha, until she said, I want peace of mind more than anything else. And then she just started letting it go, forgiving, trying to forgive until eventually she could. We have to make peace of mind our number one priority, inner peace. And if we do, and if we can make it our number one priority, we can examine everything from that point of view and ask ourselves, am I choosing peace or am I choosing conflict? Because that is the choice. And it's conflict out there or it's conflict within here, but it's still conflict. Am I choosing peace or am I choosing conflict? The ego chooses being right over being peaceful or happy. So don't listen to the ego, listen to your higher inner self. So how do we develop this skill of looking at what disturbs us? Well, we can identify with what we're resisting. So if I can just there's another song by Devotion. It's stop, step back, breathe, and be open. That was another one I thought of, Mark, afterwards. And so in the midst of whatever turmoil we're experiencing, to stop, step back, breathe, and be open. Or stop, sit down, breathe, and be open. and just say, what's going on right now? What is happening? And we start to identify with where we're resisting. And so circumstances are not stressful in themselves, but what we think about them causes the stress. And so another quote from our Lenten booklet, this one by Eric Butterworth, and he says, "Things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only things that matter are the things that happen in you." Ooh. Am I reacting? Am I in resistance to what is? So resistance to what is, Byron Katie, who wrote the book Loving What Is, she developed something called the work. And one of the I think one of the most powerful things in the work is her model of inquiry for what is disturbing one. So she has a worksheet, and you write, she says, let your ego have a heyday. You know, don't try to censor, don't try to be spiritual when you're writing that. He did this, she should have done that, she shouldn't, you know, whatever it is, you just let it pour out of you, okay? And then she asks, eventually, the question, so what if she did what she did, or he did what he did, or didn't do? Everything is exactly the same in the outer, but you couldn't think the thought that he shouldn't have done it, or it shouldn't have happened. We argue with reality, and she said when we argue with reality, we suffer, but only 100% of the time. We suffer because we're resisting what already is. And so, as she asks us to step back and examine something, it becomes a freeing moment. And I can remember the first time I did the work, and that question was put, and who would you be without that thought? And I said, I'd be free. I'd be peaceful. Wow. This isn't a one-time thing. This is an everyday occurrence. When we get triggered, and we will get triggered over and over again, we just need to develop the habit or the skill or the practice of making ourselves stop, step back, breathe, and inquire. Look at something. Self-awareness is the key. So it's about practicing, noticing, pausing. And I really, you know, having given the talk on forgiveness a couple of weeks ago, and then Mark's talk on faith, I was like, these are the elements that we need in our life in order to experience peace. We need faith. And would you put up that first principle now, Ed? Or the 5 principles? God is the source and creator of all. God is good and present everywhere. If we truly had the faith in that, would we worry about anything? I have a friend who coached me. I was worried about something, and she said, "You're not trusting." I'm like, "What? Anybody be worried about?" No. And she said, "You're not trusting that person has the inner resources to handle what you're worried about, and you're not trusting God. That the presence of God is right there within the situation, within that person, and within you." And I was like, you're right. I really did a lot of reflecting on that. Forgiveness also is something it's one of the things that stands in our way. Unforgiveness holds us caught in the past. And acceptance and surrender. So faith and trust take care of the future. Forgiveness takes care of the past. And acceptance and surrender takes care of the present. Man, just remember those 3 things, and there you are. So St. Francis prayed, "Make me an instrument of your peace." And that is where we are right now. we are able to allow ourselves to become instruments of peace. Patsy so beautifully said it in the beginning. Where there is peace in our hearts, there's peace in the world. We sing it every day, and we sing it every Sunday in church. We are all connected. All those waves are connected to source. If this wave is peaceful, there is some vibration that is sent out to all the other waves. Peace feels better than conflict. It frees our victim consciousness. In the face of problems, we begin to have clarity rather than agitation. Who would you rather have be with you when you're going through some problem? A friend who's going to sit there and say, yeah, right, okay, yeah, he did that. Or one that is just kind of peaceful and calm. Who is the more help in the matter? The one who can see that there's a possibility for peace, or the one that joins you in disturbance? And even in your own life, this week, Mark, we must have been on the same wavelength. This week was like, oh my goodness, over the top. And I had to keep stepping back and saying, everything that's important will be done. And the beautiful prayer from the Course in Miracles, I'm here to represent you who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because you who sent me will direct me. If I can say that, I don't have to worry about anything. You who sent me will direct me. I connect, I plug in. You're not going to get the lights on the tree unless you plug them in. Peace is a presence. Have you ever walked into a room and felt agitation in somebody? And maybe you've walked into a situation where somebody was so peaceful. It's a presence. It is a beautiful presence. And so peace does begin with us, each individually and collectively. We can make a difference in the world. And so today when we sing that peace song at the end of service, really sing it like you know that the peace in your heart is adding unto the collective consciousness in one direction or another. And let's make that direction be one of peace. And we will feel the vibration of peace. We will be more content, and we will send it out as a wave of blessing into the world, bringing about more peace. So my affirmation for today: I release and let go into the infinite peace of the Christ within. When you're in that boat, you don't have to calm the waves. Call on the Christ within you. You are not responsible for everything in the outer. You call on the Christ to calm your own inner being. And then you can develop a clearness of thinking, of acting, from a place of peace rather than trying to change something in the outer. So just say this with me now. I release and let go into the infinite peace of the Christ within. Take a breath in. And now I'm going to say that one more time, and you can just say it silently as we move into a few moments of meditation and just moving into that inner peace. So closing the eyes if you feel comfortable. And allow that wave of breath, like the gentle lapping of waves at the shore, to soothe you. Your breath is such a friend. You can't control every thought, but you can control the breath, and allow that breath to soothe and comfort, to bring peace to a disturbed mind or a worried heart. I release and I let go into the infinite peace of the Christ within. One in being with the Christ presence. You can feel the waves of peace that are your own true nature, moving back to source, back to love, back to the light. You feel the peace and the power of the presence. Release every disturbance, every fear, every doubt, every concern, every element of blame or shame or self-doubt or self-incrimination. Let it all be washed away with the breath of the living, loving presence of the Christ within. Give up being your own worst enemy. Open to the presence that's the true identity of your being. You were made in the image and likeness, and in and through the source of all life, you have your being. You are the presence of God in the world. You are the presence of God in your life, showing up as a human with a heart that's connected to divine love, with a peace that is infinite and endless. You are peace itself. Be the drop of peace in the ocean of love. I let go. I release into the infinite peace of the Christ within. And so it is. And so now bringing yourself back from wherever you went, maybe to the bottom of the ocean, and returning here now. Do you have another song, Mark?
No, ma'am. No. You were it, baby.
Okay. All right, we can do this.
You rock.
All right, so as our ushers come forward, we will bring forth our gifts, our tithes, our love offerings. And Mother Teresa said there are no great acts or no great gifts. There are only small gifts given with great love. So today, as you put your offering in the basket, do it with great love, and you will infuse it with the energy of that love to do great good in and through this ministry for the highest benefit for all that we serve. And so we say together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. You are my source.
Know the peace of life. Know the peace in life. Just as Master Jesus taught us. Know the peace of life.
know the peace of life. Know the peace of life, just as Master Jesus taught us. Know the peace of life. God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. God is good to me.
So you can extend your hands if you wish, or warm them with a little rub to get the energy flowing. And as those open hands represent both giving and receiving, we know that giving and receiving are the same. So we receive these gifts with great love and appreciation at the same time that we give the blessing that these gifts will bring. And so we say, thank you, infinite, eternal Spirit, Mother, Father, God. You are the source of all life, all love, and all gifts. They are a blessing to this ministry and a blessing to all that we serve. And we say, thank you, infinite source. Amen. All right. Welcome. Well, we have a thriving and expanding children's ministry. Yay.
Is this one on? Okay.
And so what have we got today, folks?
So we're sending the kids home with a horrible mess in a bag. You're welcome. We did a really cool craft today where the kids, they used a non-peanut butter kind of thing, smeared it all over some pine cones, and then rolled them in some seeds. And they have them in paper bags, so they'll be able to bring those home. And the idea is that you can take a string and hang it from a tree, and it'll feed some winter birds. We did a really cool, Jacob did a really cool story today about a bird with a broken wing trying to get some shelter from some trees. Jacob, would you like to say anything about that story?
Sure. Well, this was a story just about a bird with a broken wing that came to find shelter and seeking shelter from the different trees of the forest and asking all the deciduous trees who were too proud or too involved with their own stuff to be helpful to this bird. But it came to the spruce, the pine, and the juniper, and they found the time and the space to offer help and assistance. And as a result, when that cold north wind came through, they were allowed to keep their leaves. So we also did a little meditation, trying to sort of get a little tree meditation going with our branches up and our roots down, and sort of sensing that peace, that flow between movement and stillness that the trees help embody and can teach us.
Great. Oh, thank you.
And next week we're going to start a rehearsal. The kids are going to be involved in the Christmas Eve celebration this year. They're going to sing This Little Light of Mine. And so if parents can, next week after service, we're going to have a really short rehearsal, and then we'll be rehearsing again on the 22nd, right, several days before. But this will allow us to get a second rehearsal in, so if folks can stay a little later next week, we'd like that. And I think that's it. Anything else, Ann? Thank you very much for all of your support having fun.
All right. So let's bless our children. We bless our children wherever they are and see them surrounded by love and light throughout the week. We have a thriving, expanded youth and family ministry. And then let us say our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And join hands for our peace song.